Let me get some strong man left for NSLger. Sorry I haven't been around much. The honeydew list that has been on hold the last couple of years is coming due. 23 bonus yo dogs to my boy right there. Thank you so much, and I get it, brother. I get it. NSLger, check it out. The airbrush colors of our army, and you see that my paints are a little separated on the wet palette because that's just what happens with the monument paints, but it's not really a big deal. I'm gonna just rinse my brush. It's got some brush soap on it. So this is just gray right here. This is just turquoise right here. Just putting it back together real quick. So gray, turquoise, here's some black. There we go. I'm going to use these until, because there's not even much left to do. But the monument paints, they don't hold up overnight on wet palettes very well. So, you know, a lot of people use other means. But I'm going to take this darker puddle right here that has some blue in it. It's semi-opaque and a little wet. That's perfect. I'm going to take it and using semi-opacity and a little moisture, I'm going to use the tip of my brush and just kind of draw in and box out some borders and some frames. And we're using what we call the heart pull strategy, where I rotate the model. So I'm pulling straight lines back to my body. It's much easier to keep your line straight like this. And we are just very heavily boxing out any recess we can reasonably assume is a recess. And we are using the same black and the same blue that's already on the model, so it's very respectful. And if my lines get a little crappy, it'll withstand that without like kind of ruining the model. So I hardly ever use a wash product for this type of technique, this pen wash strategy. So semi-opaque helps it blend. Finding a little bit of a respect middle ground helps it blend. And using a little bit of moisture in the mix helps it flow. See, just building boxes, building frames. Let's run in right here. And now here up on the knee, I actually didn't do any glazing at all. It has a little bit of yellow overspray on it still, even. So I'm just going to kind of work it out by hand here. And we have to detail out the red strip still. See, that's a little aggressive right here, and that's fine. And what I'll do is I'll just run to the gray real quick while it's a little wet. And just wet glaze it right in there. And what I'm doing is like erasing the yellow overspray from our airbrushing with a little bit of gray and a slight touch of blue mixed in. And so this is a little bit more advanced than our 101 curriculum, exclamation point class, if you're new to painting. This is more about 201 methodology. Snail Dice MF. Sup, says Kenny, my boy looks rad. Dab for Mammoth. Yo, it's our boy right there. Shout out to my boy Snail Dice MF. As we're running in here, curating this miniature. Now, there is a pipe right here. So I'm just going to hit it with the dark blue gray for now. That is one of those many pipes on the model. That's not rock. Okay, embedded in his kneecap. Let's move right here. Let's drop our little line right there. Let's move this way and see there's lots of yellow overspray on this overhang. And we're just very aggressively dropping contours, you know. And very heavy-handed right here. I'm going to grab some of that gray, some of that blue. While it's still wet, I'm going to sneak in right here and get rid of some of that yellow. So this is semi-opaque and wet, and I'm just going to jam it in there best I can. And just put a sheet of this over the yellow so it kind of wipes out any yellow overspray. Pick up some of that dark color. You get a little bit of a blurred border in there. Let's pick up some wet ass white. A little bit of this gray highlight. On these ripples, I could just jump straight up to the brighter value. Move back to this direction. Let's take that brighter value and let's just start drop. This is higher opacity, lower moisture. We're going to do the heart pull strategy right here and just run a quick line right there. And we've respected the colors. Again, we're using the exact same color combination, just more white. And this is going to always blend as long as you're finding that respect. You're never going to have to worry about hard edges as long as you stop to consider what actually would respect the current value. Current value meaning the brightness factor. And then you understanding what paints you use to make it bright. It's very simple for us. It's literally black, white, and turquoise. So some combination of white to make it brighter. See, now we're popping those shelves out, generating a lot more contrast, a lot more visibility, and we don't care about light so much as just visibility. So we're kind of just making shit up and boxing things out in this capacity. Okay? Let's grab some of this mix. Maybe respect it a little bit more because this is so dark right here. We're going to focus just on the top shelf right there of that rock. We're going to move over here. Kind of do the outer perimeter. And I'm going to have to rebuild some of the red. Right there. And that's the pipe. Snail, make sure you at me. He says, look so mecca. I just convinced my mother to try painting miniatures. She does portrait painting professionally, but she wanted to connect with her grandchildren, my nephews, so she will be learning from these videos because they want to learn on this bad boy. Hell yeah. Counterfactual, thank you for the follow. That's an amazing little story right there. Let's get a couple more lines down real quick. We're going to inject a little bit more white into the mix. High opacity, low moisture. And a second tier line, I'm going to focus more on the top here. Boom. Like that. So this is a step up in respect and brightness. Right there. Right there. Rotate. Oh shit, what's going on? Alice Alza Alice Algza. Yo, I don't read so good. Alice, thank you for the raid. Welcome to the show. Welcome these raiders. Just Alice. Got it. Alice, thank you. Carbide, thank you for the follow. King Grime, thank you for the follow. I've got a chat that I gotta catch up on real quick. Lehman Russ talks shit. Says all minis I have is 2 box dreadnoughts, 1 still on sprue, 1 a box, 3 primary eliminators, 2 still on sprue. 3rd only has a base layer of silver because I don't have dark gray or black paint, sadly. 10 Scutari, 8 are primed up. 6 of those are partially painted. 2 just have primer on them. The 9th Scutari needs to be attached to his base, and the 10th is still on the sprue in his box. 10 Firstborn Tactical Marines that are a whip. Paint stripping. Oops. Dr. 12, thank you for the follow, and Alice, thank you for the follow. You're off to a good start, Lehman Russ. Fuck yeah. Okay. What we are doing currently, to catch anybody up who's just tuning in, is doing some quick edge highlights. Edge highlighting strategy, high opacity, low moisture, tip of the brush. What we're doing is looking to just drag straight lines back to our heart and create this top shelf highlight. Focusing on the tops right there to help enhance the three-dimensional quality of the over-dramatized contouring I've done. You know, these pockets of rocks are not this, like, strongly delineated. Though the texture is there, I'm enhancing it. Mostro Morty, what's up, brother? 39 months back-to-back. It's my dude. Karia, Kyara, Elvin Blood, thank you for the follow. Charles in Charge, thanks for the follow. So we're going to go a little brighter. Right there. And a little whiter. And we're not repainting it, we're just augmenting it. As you can see. Ping, 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 ping. I got no issues with over-the-top lines. I like the extreme contrast. That's my objective rule in art, is contrast is king. Deck Flow coming in with that raid, that Friday raid. Let me get some love in the chat for Deck Flow. Exclamation point hype. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Snail Dice MF in chat, by the way, guys. That is a Mammoth Factory employee. If you guys are interested in the old STL free giveaway, exclamation point Mammoth, follow the link train and get this STL. Lehman Russ. 3 Firstborn Tactical Marines still have a detailed Ultramarine paint job because Simple Green is super hit or miss with paint stripping. A ratio of random Ultramarines. 7 tax. Need more repairs. God damn, dude. Just pick something and go, man. You're all over the place, dog. Carbide. Just saw some of your handiwork on Spellcrawl Instagram and thought, great work. Hey, man, that's awesome. I definitely painted many Spellcrawl models. Love Spellcrawl. Edasogar, I just realized that this is my 5-year anniversary of watching you. Edasogar, is that? Congratulations. Oh, did you just get your 5-year badge? Yeah, you did. Let me get some strong man love right there from my boy Edasogar. Charles in Charge, any tips on batch painting Grey Knights? Do you own an airbrush? Just popping these little lines out right here. Okay, that's good enough on that side. Let's sneak in right here. Okay, there's a little yellow overspray still in that little crevasse. So let's go back to our semi-opaque and kind of wet pin wash formula. And it's darker with a lot more black in it. And let's just repair that. Right there. Feel good. Okay, now we've got to do the other. This is the last part of the gray armor. And you can see, if you're new to airbrushing or painting, you can see like, well, didn't you already paint it? Isn't this already painted? Yeah, it was airbrushed. We used this exact color palette when we airbrushed it. Now I've got to detail it out, right? It's not always what you need to do, but I'm doing that for this project. So again, let's grab some of this semi-opaque, little wet mix from last night, and let's just contour out what we can in this little spot right here. So what I'm going to do is just rotate, heart drag right here, heart pull back to my body, pow! Okay. And we're just going to, anything that looks like a crevasse, we're going to jump right into it semi-opaque and a little wet. Rotate this way. We're going to run it deeper here, here. Here. There. And what we're doing is just generating some serious contrast. And we don't have to do much down here because it's in shadow under his body. Okay, big thick lines. Alice, Wanna, thanks for the follow. Charles in Charge, that is my suggestion. Buy an airbrush. It is life. The longer you procrastinate on that, the worse off you are. 100% game changer. Okay, so now what we're going to do is find a respectful middle ground like we've been talking about, just using the same paints the whole time. And I'm going to run in here and drag a nice top shelf line. And this is still kind of semi-opaque and a little wet. It's a little broad, and I'm doing it to kind of mask the thickness of my line I just deployed. And when the paint's still this wet, you just got to be delicate and use light brush pressure. Still try to find the position that lets you drag straight lines back to your body. You're always going to have a straighter line. Now, while that's still wet, I'm going to just jump up and grab a little bit more white. And this is, again, more advanced. This is not just traditional edge highlighting. We are manipulating the opacity and the moisture kind of on the model in real time. I call that technique the wet glazing technique. I cover a lot of that in my 201 curriculum. But all painting at the end of the day is just opacity and moisture manipulation. It's been like that for like a hot 1,000 years. It's pretty much the only two elements of painting, as far as I can tell. So getting a real extreme there. Now, anytime it looks a little too extreme, just lower the opacity and the moisture. Go back a step and just glaze up against the tide line you created. And it'll fuzz it out. It'll give you a blur. Tight. Tight. So this guy, it's been an exercise in quick airbrush, locking the deets, find the contrast. See, now all the pipes, that was one of the big conundrums. What do we do on these fucking pipes? So we oftentimes I just go black, and so I figured out later, and I decided I like the black. So let's get some, but the trick with the pipes is it's neutral. There's no bluing to it, no coolness to it. So I'm gonna grab a new puddle of black and white so I can keep this blue free. Okay. And let's make sure these little black pipe details are truly black, just to begin with. And let's cut out all blue gray. Keep it neutral, black, right there, okay? Let that dry for a second, and now what we gotta do is kind of move around the model and find pipes and shit we missed. So here's a bunch of black action back here, and you can see if I wash it out with the camera bright, you can see I quickly base coated all this shit black right here. So what we have to do is kind of keep it in that black frame and keep it neutral with some subtle highlights. So I'm also, just to make it easy, I'm going to grab neutral gray. Now neutral gray is literally just this black and this white, but it is convenient for this technique to have some already here on the palette. So I'm going to grab some of that gray, some of that black, find something respectful. So basically what you're looking for is like super dark gray. And what I'm going to do is just carve in some quick edges. And I'm going to be pretty lackadaisical about this, because I'm respecting it so much. Weiler in the chat. Yeah, that's my boy Weiler. Trogdor, life. I get some love right there for Rottweiler. Actually, we just worked on black together in a private class. So some quick, fast edges. Rottweiler coming in to say, "What's up, bro? What's up, bro? DZ doing my pre-tourney rush. How far along on those Contemptor Dreadnoughts, or not Contemptors, Redemptor Dreadnoughts are you, brother?" And that is, of course, the Beast Mode multiplier. I think. What is that number? Is that a 6? Love Minis, can you give him 138 bonus? Yo, DZs, please. Damon Rust realized that I shouldn't send so many walls of text on Twitch. I do it in the Discord where people will actually see it. Yeah, smarter to use smaller sentences in a moving chat window. Got a tight budget for the hobby? If you don't have an airbrush, then I would stop buying models, save up your money until you have enough for an airbrush. It will save you money in the long run, but you got to make the initial investment, which is why it's hard. Snail Dice. Do people know that they can get this STL for free? Yeah. Exclamation point Mammoth, baby. People know. We've been running it for six straight streams. I'm sure you have lots of email signups. You got one more. You hate those fucking things? That's how it works. Smoke. Just found you the other day. Your paint jobs are great. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Check it out. Respectful Grays. Oh, did I already do this? Looks like I kind of rapid fired this the other day. Yep. Okay, so let's just quickly do it. Bang it out. Okay, the light is washing the model out, so you can see it a little bit easier. I'm gonna get more to baseline. But these pipes are kind of going to be a headache. So they're black. We're going to rotate. We're going to take our respectful dark gray, and we're going to just run a horizontal line vertical to my positioning. And so what we're doing is acknowledging that these cylinders, right, need a horizon line. So just the top of cylinder is catching the gray. Like so, and there's a lot of these guys. It's really easy to just say fuck these things and not want to paint them, which is kind of how the one on Mammoth's Instagram is. So I'm showing you guys all the beautiful details that this model has. So it's a little bit of a hassle here. That's the first round right there. Real quick and easy, respectful. Rotate. Let's quickly bang these out. These ones are getting kind of tricky to access up here. Do your best. Semi-opaque, minimum moisture here. Just enough to flow. The hard part is the coupling links on all these pipes. I'm going to paint them back to gold. This is the easy part. Okay, now this one, this big diagonal pipe right here. Rinse, 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 rinse. Is this brush okay? Rottweiler, I think I told you about my boy Bald. He's driving here to finish some stuff with me and give me a hand. Oh, sick. Chaotic painting. What up, player? Okay, I'm switching brushes. Mighty. God, I'm so sick of painting red. Still, there's so much going on in the stream. I feel like I'm in the future. Yeah. That's how it works. That's the community, baby. Snail Dice MF, by the way, is Mammoth Factory. So here we go. Big brush. Let's focus down on that bigger pipe. So whenever you're working a cylinder and you want it to have a somewhat reflective quality, you got to acknowledge with the horizon. Is it a vertical or a horizontal laid cylinder? This is in between the two. That's obnoxious, but ultimately, you just you can either do it this way, like these pipes, or with the length. So since it's diagonal, we're not gonna go across it. That would be weird. Okay, we're still gonna run it down like this. Okay. So that's kind of like the only weird rules when you're working with a cylinder. You kind of have to make that decision based on its orientation. And you can kind of just take a shiny water bottle and turn it, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So it's an effect. It's not really a technique. The technique is what I'm doing with my brushes, but the procedure of laying those techniques together is the effect of creating a shininess factor. It's a low tier non-metal metallic. So what I'm going to do now is take a little... No, I fucked up and dipped into my blue white. I'm going to introduce a little bit of white to that makeup. And run a slightly brighter version right there. Let that rinse, let that dry. A little bit right here. A little bit right here. Okay. I'm going to take some pure black and I'm going to reinforce the black line right under that shine line. Using our heart pull strategy, more opacity, less moisture. Okay, let that chill, let that dry. Done. Go back to the little brush. Now let's go back for a second tier of highlights and all this black gray. Some of it we're following the rules of non-metal metallics, some of it we're just doing highlights. Like here, here's a latch. We're going to do the tracer technique and just trace that lip with a slightly brighter version of the same exact gray. And we're going to try to keep it pretty low key. We're not going to trace everything. We're just going to augment what we have. And I'm going to actually take a step up, make it a little brighter already. Right there. Ping! Little tracer technique. Here's a little heart pull right here. Just let it lift off. Just let it run into nothing. Right there. Heart pull right there. Rotate. Let's get a quick tracer right here. Just a little suggestion of shininess there, okay? By adding a little white to the gray. Now let's rotate this way. Let's get our center line on the pipes. And that got away from me, so let me just go back in time to the darker gray and fuzz that down while it's still wet. Let's grab more black. I'm going to repair that little spot right there. Let's get more white. Sometimes what I like to do on these pipes is run like a fake highlight, just kind of like where they meet the tube. Super easy. And it's just the black undercarriage of the mechanisms with some nice intriguing shininess. That's it. Mostro Morty just gifted a sub to Charles in Charge. Remember, guys, if you're new here, exclamation point new, you're going to want to @ me so it highlights so I can communicate with you while I'm painting. Let's run back over to this side real quick. Let's run our center shine line right here. Carefully rotate to the heart pull position. Pull straight back. Like that. Okay. Let's run a tracer right here. which means we're just skirting that rail. Here, we're going to run a heart pull. We're going to hit the top shelf of this. And you can see this guy's a straight robot. Fake highlight right there. Let's run back in time, a little bit more black. Let's rinse. Let's get some pure, almost pure white now. And I'm gonna be very gentle. And just add a couple of pops. Ping, ping. Get that ping, ping effect right here. Rotate here, just a little bit in that center line. Right there. High opacity, low moisture. Don't repaint it, just augment it. Look for that heart pull. Tight, tight, tight. Now there's a lot still. I mean, like, I want to get them done by tomorrow. And I think we're going to get all of this part done, but we still have to do the weapon. We haven't even touched that. And I haven't done any web blending or anything on these feet or hands. So I might be off on my predictions. Cletus, 37 months, the legend. Okay, since I'm here, I rotated back to the front. Let's see if we can get a respectful dark gray. Here's a tube right here, just bulging out of his knee. And while it's wet, I'm just going to bury some white into it. Right there. There's one right here, just barely visible under his weapon. So I'm going to just do less there. I'm not really going to go too hard there. Can't really see it. I get more white. And just one last. There we go. Rotate back here. Now we got to get all this junk. So here on the big pipe, this is the tricky one. So you're going to want to just be real careful here. And it's going to almost always get a little fucked up, and you're going to have to repair it by going back in time. Wetting up the paint, semi-opaque. Run that blur right there. Let's go back, get a little bit more white in the mix. Wasser Hammer, what's up, man? Right there. Right there. A little bit more white. There you go. Now, let's see if we can rapid fire these pipes right here. Rotate back. Let's see if we can get those center lines. I'm going to try to be a little bit more aggressive. And this is still the easy part. The hard part's going to straight up be the gold frames. Rotate back here. Tip of the brush. High opacity, low moisture. Get that center line. Rotate. Pull back to your heart. And we'll do glaze edits and stuff after we lay down more of this. Rotate back this way. High opacity, low moisture. Let's do it. A final stipple almost of white, near white. It's not actually white yet. And I'm gonna fuck up like I just did right there. I'll have to edit that later. Up, right here. Right here. Gotta fuck that up a little bit. It's okay. I'm gonna frame it out. I went back in time to a slightly darker version of the paint. I'm gonna go back even darker. Wet blend that out. I'm gonna grab almost black. Semi-opaque and a little wet. I'm gonna just put a border in right there, right there. Kind of like his hip armor in there. Shout out to Colonel Coyote, thank you. Now I'm gonna fix this. I fucked up this line right here. Going back to black to fix that. I'm gonna go back to a slight gray and kind of just repair any weird tide lines I see. I'm gonna get more white on the mix. Okay. Rotate back this way. Let's grab some more of the black. We're gonna cut under our fat highlights and skinny up that line by erasing from it using the black again. Just kind of subtraction technique right here. Help you straighten out your line. There's so many of them. Now, let's see if I can get kind of one last gleam going before we run into some of that gold. I did a really good job on the front, but these ones are kind of weird. So I'm really trying to make sure I use really high opacity and low moisture to stay in control. But I kind of feel like I can get away with that. And I'll jump into the gold here in a second. I just realized, look, this pipe's all over this guy. Straight up robot guy. Right here. Catch those. He's also like under this shoulder pad. There's a bunch of that construct shit right here. Some more of that clearly like robot inner workings. All those latches and shit. And I painted that black already. And now I'm just dragging some quick highlights. Right there. I kept it respectful for the first line. I'm going to be it a little bit brighter, more ambitious for this line. Heart pull right there. Just some quick little detail. Ping, 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 ping. So you see the gold latches is a big part of this, okay? So I'm just making sure I got all the gray stuff I need locked in. VOL needs, what up, brother? So let's run over here to these pipes we just laid down. Let's run a quick horizon line on the tops. Like so. Let's grab a little bit more white in the mix and let's see if I can just quickly lock these in. Shiny black. A little bit more white, almost pure white. Right there. Rinse. Let's pick up a little bit of pure black and let's subtract from that highlight by hitting the black side of the line. There you go. Okay. Okay, let's do it. Oh my God. It's never ending. Look. Pipe. Right there. Oh my God. Hit that while I'm chilling right there. We haven't even fucked with the hands. I mean, he is obviously a fucking robot, man. It's a challenging paint job, no doubt. It's rewarding, but I can see why people would try more sustainable techniques on this monster. Reappraise. Yep. We're going to change this guy. This guy's name is now Crackhead because of the pipes. That's right. He's made out of a sewer system. Okay, let's see if we can catch that. Vertical line right there. And we're just doing the same thing we've been doing. Okay, let that chill. Okay, so the gold is a big part of this. And so I don't want to like overkill myself making the pipes perfect when I know the gold is like at least half of how come they're going to look good. So let's rotate the palette and let's just start with ochre. Last time I primed them with my paintbrush and changed them all to gray first, but I have a feeling, I think this ochre actually is burly enough to get the job done. So what we're going to do is just start by resetting these frames to ochre. I'm going to be using pretty high opacity. So I'm going to put just a squirt of water here in case I need to rinse the brush every now and then. But pretty much I'm going to go raw dog off the palette with ochre. And we're going to carefully, using the tip of our brush, high opacity, low moisture, and hard pull, some stippling, sewing machine stroke, we are going to carefully fucking paint all these little fucking dealies pure opaque ochre. Okay. And we're like, it's going to be a lazy non-metal metallic effect. I fucked up right there. Got a little on the black, but that's easier to fix. Looking for that one and done coverage. Already starts to look way better now that you have that new layer of intrigue in there. Now here's the thing. There's like also like couplings on some sides of these things. This is actually green stuff too. These are my own green stuff couplings. I just realized because I do have a tutorial on how I prepared this guy to paint. And there was a bit of a gap based on how I wanted to put them together, and so I let the gap be big back here, and then I showed you guys how to green stuff that gap back together and create some really clean, like, I mean, pretty much this whole from these little couplings here over is green stuff, and I have a little video on that. And you could have glued them up a little bit different and had smaller seams and probably used just some traditional gap filler. But I did not and made content out of green stuff. Got a little out of bounds on one of these. Again, that's not a problem. That's just a matter of going back with black and repairing it. Repair this guy. Yep. We talked about that. Let's figure out if we want to do couplings down here. Like, do I even need to worry about this one? I kind of feel like I don't. Feel like I'm just going to let it ride. Okay. While those are drying, I'm going to rinse my brush. Babble Rouser, what up, player? I'm going to get a little transparent brown. On the palette. I've already got some white up in the cut. And so there's a few over here I never got to in the last time we painted. So you see, it's ochre. We're gonna, but nothing else has been done to it. So ochre, transparent brown together. I'm going to kind of just lightly stipple that darker version here. Stop. Here. Stop. Here. Stop. And stop. So that's the tri-blend, dark, bright, dark. Okay? Now what we're going to do is rinse that up, run it back to the pure ochre, a slight tinge of brown, and we're going to just stipple that tide line and soften it while it's still a little wet. Trick is, it doesn't actually have to be that soft. It can be pretty cell shady. Okay? Grab a little white, little ochre, and you can just do a little, almost a line right there. Okay? Rotate. A line right there. And a big part of this effect is you want to make sure that this top seam is also bright. So you want to just carefully drag that highlight across that seam right there. Same thing right here. This one's much harder to do. Right there. Heart pull, high opacity, low moisture. And now you want to just rinse. Mighty M, thank you, brother. Is it your birthday today? Exclamation point hype. Mighty M, can Love Minis can you give him 500 Yo Dogs for his birthday? Pow, 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 pow. Oh shit, is the world famous JJ Whitesnake in chat. Says, I can't even get paint on my walls to look good. Got jokes, almost like he's a comedian over here. Sleestra A, thank you for the follow. Oh, look at all that hype. Let me get some hype in the chat for my new friend, JJ Whitesnake, whom I met. Remember, guys, I went to a birthday party on Tuesday? It was Tuesday? Remember how Bonet left? And then I streamed, and then I went and met up with her? Well, turns out parties in Hollywood have a lot of interesting people at them, especially at our friend Alex's house, whose birthday it is. And it's pretty fucking interesting. Chill sesh. Drinking sesh. Smoking weed sesh. Yeah, Disflux knows. So I met JJ Whitesnake, whom is a comedian, and you can see all sorts of videos of him doing comedy online, and he works at the comedy shop here in town, or does gigs there. I don't know how this shit works. I don't know, but he's hilarious. Check him out. Hit that follow button. JJ Whitesnake. LT, the greatest troll in the game. Gonna put interesting in quotations, LT? Get the fuck out of here. Why can't you just say that same thing you just said without quotation marks? Now you make it weird. Alright. So that was fun, right? I just did a couple little non-metal metallic effects on those two little dealies. Well, there's like 400 of them on this side. So, okay, LT, get the fuck out of here. I'm not making it weird. People in LA make it weird. Fuck this guy. War Pigment says, your Apper in Ulcer Adam YouTube Vito today. I'm going to reverse engineer that in War Pigment speak to mean you're up on Uncle Adam's YouTube channel today. I'm assuming is what he's saying. This is a Colossus rock guy from Mammoth Factory. Phoenix Can't Fly. It's not. It's basically for D&D modules. If you want a free STL, exclamation point Mammoth. Sign up, get this STL, print this shit out yourself. This is a 3D printed model. So here we go. We're gonna do it again. Let's jump in here. Let's see if I can make this happen. Okay. Disflux, damn dog, you're getting good at translating homeboy War Pigment now. It's been years, dog. I can read this guy. JJ says, fun party though. It got really messy after you escaped. It got really messy after you escaped? Oh my god. This one guy hands JJ Whitesnake a bag of tobacco. He's like, we're going to roll our own cigarettes. And then JJ Whitesnake's like, this is a bag of weed. Just pulling weed out of this bag. I remember that. So here we go. We're gonna take the transparent brown and we'll shine some light on this. So what we're gonna do is just quickly stipple using the sewing machine stroke. Here we go. 1, 2. Leave that shine mark in the middle. 1, 2. Semi-opaque, a little wet. Just let it ride. And we'll clean up the mess later. So there you go. That's the tri-blend. Dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright. That's how we build the shiny effect. Quickly while it's wet, let's grab a little bit of ochre, a little bit of white. And let's see if we can just kind of stipple in the center. Kind of clean it up. Real quick, go back to the transparent brown. Maybe split the difference. This is a high stress technique. Work the little tide line between the two. Don't have to work it too good. Rinse it down, get all that excess bullshit off your brush. Pick up the white and the ochre. Keep it high opacity, low moisture. Let's rotate, looking for the heart pull stroke right here. Let's see if we can get a nice clean line in line with our horizon lines. And with that tri-blend, it creates the subtle effect that it's shiny. Now that's only part of it. That's the easy part in my opinion. We have to put crisp lines around the edges of those to box it in. It's just a little fucking accent mark on this huge paint job, right? This massive beast that we haven't done the hands or the feet yet. That's just airbrush. This is nothing. JJ's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Somehow I wound up with more weed here at mine than the other night, than when the night began. It's classic. Guy's like, here, roll us some cigarettes. Walks away. JJ's like, this is a bag of weed. It's just the funniest shit ever. All right, let's get some of that white, high opacity, low moisture. Let's just double check that our moisture level's low. Let's get real tight. And you're gonna see here, what we're gonna try to do is drag a crisp line. Down the edge, which is not easy, I'm not gonna lie. Don't get frustrated if you fuck it up a few times. And I'm just going to kind of do my best to drop those extra lines in there. Too easy. Rinse the brush. You're done. Let it ride. It's a tiny effect. Don't fucking, obsess over it. Let's take some black, semi-opaque, and let's pin wash right up against that frame. Separate it. Contrast is just about separation. Digestibility, viewability. Can you see it? Perceive it? And so we're breaking up that border. Little accent. A lot of work for a very little gain. That's how it works. Contrast, and for me, in my curriculum, exclamation point class, I view it as the only objective rule in art. If you don't have contrast, art's bad. And that's all mediums. Like, here it's perceivability. Can I see it? And I'm very focused on a specific type of contrast, very value-based. Dark, dark, bright, bright, dark, dark. There's lots of contrast styles. Is it perceivable? Is it viewable in a visual medium? Same thing happens. It's music. Anything is like that. Books, anything. Can you understand it? Can you perceive it? Can you hear it? If you can't, whatever the message is, whatever the intent is, it's not tight to me. More pigment. Kenny has unlocked the code that is the matrix, that is the dyslexic typing. More pigment. More pigment 2022. All right, back to this side, okay? Again, let's grab our ochre and our transparent brown, kind of swirl them together, split the diff, keep it kind of wet, kind of gangster. We're going to go in here and do the same thing again. Let's just stipple in using sewing machine stroke. Pow, pow, pow. See, that's the tri-blend. Leave the center intact. Boom. Pick up a little more. I'm going to have to fix that mistake later. Not even going to worry about that other one. Okay, so we got, it's begun. It's begun. Key and Bloom, thank you for the follow. Let's rinse it down, get that brown off the brush. Let's grab a little bit more ochre. Oh, shit. Catching that raid. Who that? Dub 4. Okay, W40 tank. Dubs 40. Dubs 40. Dubs 40 coming in with the raid. Let me get some hype in the chat for that raid. Thank you so much, homie. Bleedy Sweetie, thank you for the follow. Can I get that fucking hype train? For 40k tank. Here we go. Let's take the ochre right here. 40k tank. Take the ochre with a touch of the brown. Split the difference. Keep it respectful. Rotate back in. And let's just work these tide lines. A little bit of stipple action right there. The dog is going crazy. That one sucks. I need to kind of go back to that one. Recoil. Can I get some strong man love in the chat for recoil? What is that, a 4x multiplier? 92 bonus Yodogs for recoil. Can I get some love, please? And we're just kind of blurring those tide lines we created earlier by kind of just visually splitting the difference with our eyes. It's just some combination of ochre and the brown. You just kind of have to figure it out. And it's okay if it's not like super blendy or blurry either. Things that are shiny aren't. Things that are reflective as hell are actually kind of hard. Like, so let's run in here, grab a little ochre, a little white. And let's rotate back in. Let's get it. Let's kind of do the horizon line in line with the pipe. Tri-blend effect. There you go. Yikes, right? Recoil, my dude. Can I get some strong man love? And also shout out to Recoil's mom, who's in the Cool Moms Club. Or we're in the Cool Moms Club. Skull Joel. Thanks for the follow. Alright, here we go. Almost pure white. Let's catch a little bit more shine. But here's the hard part again. We got to hit that frame. I let my brush lay over. Got to repair that. We got to get those frames locked in. And try not to fucking ruin your blend by letting your brush kind of lay flat by accident. And it's the hardest part. So I got to repair that. This one right here is just straight shit. So let's just go back to the transparent brown and see if I can bully inside the interior a little bit. Right there. This one right here I kind of fucked up too. Pick up a little bit of ochre. Pick up a little white. Get a little bit more. Okay, let that dry for 1 second. Let's grab a little black. Let's do some pen washing real quick. Let's fix up some of our other mistakes. right? Let's create that contrast separation we talked about. Semi-opaque, a little wet. Heart pull strategy. Separate those from the black and the gray. Both sides if possible. If necessary, I should say. Recoil says, for mom, hello, you and your beautiful lady. Thank you so much. Tom Duster in chat. What's up, man? Now here we go. Let's try it again. Round fucking 2. Let's get some white. Touch of ochre. Let's keep the opacity high and the moisture low, guys. And let's see if we can not fuck it up this time very carefully. Drop this shinier border. Feel a lot better about that. One little mistake, but that's an easy mistake. I put some of that ochre white into the black by accident. Turns out all I gotta do is grab black. There it is. While I'm here, I'm gonna define this a little bit harder here with the pin wash. I think I can live with that. I think I can live with that. Now I have been glazing yellow and oranges into those to make them more yellow. So I'm going to show you how that works. Transparent yellow. And they're very small, so I'm just going to do a small amount of yellow in there just to yellow them back up. Because right now it's just ochre, white, and brown. But if you take transparent yellow and a touch of water, we're just going to lightly drag this yellow filter right over the tops of the ochre, brown, and white, and this will yellowify our gold effect a little bit and just give it a little bit more vibrancy. That's simple. Now, here the big ones, the money shot. Okay, let's take some of that ochre. Trying to use the heart pull with whatever I can. Being careful. High opacity, just enough moisture for spread. A lot of work on the fucking backside of this guy. You can see it's exactly what we've done on the front. Lock into that heart pull zone, rotate, be careful using the tip of your brush, rotate, get the shelf, rotate, don't be lazy. It's always straighter and more precise to pull back to your body. See in this curve, rotate halfway through that curve. Because if you don't, that's when you risk laying your brush over and getting out of bounds. Okay. So the big ones, in my opinion, are much easier because the edge highlighting part doesn't fall apart. It might be a little harder in the midfield to get your blends, but I feel like they're easier overall. So here's some more ochre right here. Let's grab some transparent brown. And I don't really care if I get this on the tube. See, nice, just walking the blend up while it's still semi-wet. A little more transparent brown. I'll let that dry for a minute. Let's run up here. Again, keep the brightest point of the tri-blend in line with the horizon line already on the pipe. Right there. Grab a little bit more ochre. Just kind of blur that back. So there's the foundation, tri-blend. That's the foundation of most cylindrical things like that. Most non-metal metallic, tri-blend. So let's grab more ochre and maybe just grab a splash of the old white. And let's just see if we can line up with that tide line or that horizon line. Right there. And this is, I'm not even trying to blend this. It's just straight fucking cell shading, 3D printer lines. Let's grab more white and do it again, but less. Right there. Right there. Look at that. I mean, I barely did anything and it already has the effect. See? Much easier in my opinion. Rotate this way. Let's see if we can get a quick tracer where I can hit that bevel and just kind of trace along it using the side of my brush. Usually that's pretty easy. Just be careful not to paint the black tube. It's not the end of the world if you do. That's usually an easier way to edge highlight if it's available to you. It's not always available to you. Sometimes you just have to do the heart pull. Hold your breath. Swing it from right to left. And that's white plus ochre. Instantly really sharpens the image. Let's grab more white, like a lot more white, and let's see if we can just manually brighten some of this with a heart pull right here. More white. One last slice of white right here. Rinse it down. Get all that shit off the brush. The gentleman in chat, Talon, what's up, homie? Crazy Cyber. Let's grab some of our transparent yellow. And let's just give us our yellow filter. Focusing more on the shiny part in the middle so it gets more yellow. There it is. Rinse it down. I got a little on the pipe. It's a black right here. And now I think I'm going to get a little bit more ambitious here because this pipe is such a big part of the... Nah. Maybe? Let's see what it looks like. I'm going to take a gamble here. And do these like artificial lines up top. And sometimes, like, when you do that and frame it out, it gives it a really cool look. I could take it or leave it. Take a little bit of black right here. Little Metalhead 69. Thank you for the follow. Whew. Okay, we got a lot of that bullshit done. We can do a whip session here, guys. Exclamation point whip. Jump in the Discord so we can take a look at what you guys did this week. When we come back from the whip session, I'll finally finish all this red. All this burgundy and shit down here. And that will conclude the armor on this guy. Like the stone and the red trim. And then all we have left to do is get these hands and feet looking good. And then eventually this weapon. But the nature of this weapon is very airbrushable. So, gotta do some cheating on that. Nope. Burgundy, 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 burgundy. So, we're keeping the burgundy pretty simple. It's just burgundy and black, burgundy and white. Just get my bigger brush too. The soap off of it. I left a little soap on it while we were doing whip. Check it out, Love Minis. So we did all that burgundy earlier. So we're going to take the raw burgundy and just quickly... And we built it off of black and blue. And now I'm using this to kind of do one pass of really opaque burgundy. And clean up any edges that have gotten fucked up through handling and painting. So instead of having to fully paint the red now, we're just kind of fixing and repairing the red because we did the red on the first day. Introducing one more pass of raw dog off the palette. No thinning whatsoever. Keeping it gangster. Using the heart pull strategy right here. And I got a little overspray from the yellow that we're repairing as well. Real vibrant, real classy. Same deal right here. Again, just pop it out. Repair. Some blue and some overspray on some of this red. But it's pretty good on that side. Let that set up for a minute. Let's run over to the interior leg right here. There's a lot less visible, so I'm not going to do as much. Still, I'm just kind of staying in kind of a lazy heart pull. There you go. Rotate in. There we go. Real extreme. No blending practically at all here. Just kind of working the volume, the bellies of things. Get some of that overspray out of there. I'm not going to fuck with the red on the boot yet because I haven't done the yellow yet, and I'm going to get yellow back on it, so no worries. Let's grab some white, put some white right in the burgundy, split the difference. Let's make it respectfully brighter, but not super brighter. And let's come in right here and just drag a nice little line in. Pow, son. And I love the way the burgundy looks with white in it. Just run in here. Not even really waiting for it to dry. Right there. Just some basic heart pulling. And it's, as it dries, you see it's very respectful. Kind of just target locking center of things. I'm curating a bit of a shape to my line work here. Kind of inside these petals. Run it back. Observe. Let's get the light more accurate. Yo, Chaos Kev, the fucking man, the myth, the legend. Can I get some strong man love right there for Chaos Kev? He likes it raw. Exclamation point raw says top stream as always. Keep those hobby fires burning. 10x multiplier. 230 bonus yo dollars for Chaos Kev. Tea time with Terran. The burgundy and gold look great together. Thanks, man. They do. They do. So you see it's very subtle now. Let's sneak a little bit more white into the mix. You see that? And I'm going to go a little bit more selectively. Nothing too crazy here. And I'm not trying to repaint it. I'm just trying to augment it real quick. Nothing too crazy, as you can see. 1 second, guys. Let me check on something. Back to it. Crisis averted. Get locked back in the cradle. Okay. So let's move, let's keep it going. The slightly brighter feathering of this highlight. Just straight up heart pull. See it? Run it back. There we go. Now the cool thing is if there's anything you don't like, it's pretty easy to fix. Okay, so I'm going to rinse the brush. Downgrade to the smaller brush. I'm going to do some final lines. Unkibe, thank you for the follow. Let's grab more white. Much brighter, more opaque. Now I'm going to use the small brush, and I'm really just going to drag a couple lines in, like so. Again, don't repaint it. Just add to it. Like so. Pa-cling! Now there are some fun little shapes in this trim where it's clearly melty, and I'm just going to kind of draw attention to that in some regions. There we go. Some melty textures right there, and I'm just going to stipple on those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in time to something more respectful, and I'm going to actually hit the front of this edge right here and lock it in. You see that? And I'm using the smaller brush instead of the bigger brush for this. High opacity, low moisture. Hit that whole frame right there. You see that? Go back to the bright stuff. Just augment it. Ping. Run it back to this side. Get the bright stuff. And I think here I can create some shapes, as you can see right here. I'm just kind of going with the flow. Those teardrop shapes I created in there. And you see, because I painted the frames of this red, or the trim, when I wrapped them around to this side, it's kind of like they ran into his armor, and I had to create like a border, like a stop. So like these are definitely like morphed into everything else back here, but by using pin washing and extreme contrast, I created a stopping point, and I'm kind of like encouraging that unique shape and conclusion of the trim as it rocks back here. Just a little artistic license. Kind of like one of those weird things we have to do. Rotate back this way. Same deal. We're going to create these shapes and just walk with them. Just tight little lines. Real easy stuff. We haven't done any blending at all. This is all at the back of our edge highlighting strategies. Now, in some areas, it may have gotten a little heavy-handed, so just go back in time. There we go. Run it back to the front. Not bad. If we want to go one step farther, right, even more white, we can. And just be really selective here. Real sharp. Nothing too crazy. Now we've got those legs looking real good. Now his crotch looks sick. His thighs. Hamstrings. All of our pipes are done. We're looking real strong. Since I have this bright white out here, I'm going to do another pass right here. Just a pink, pink, pink. Tight, tight. 13 minutes left. We're doing okay. Now let's see if we can do a little work on this hand. I did some slight pin washing on it, right? Transparent brown, little ochre. And what all we're trying to do here is frame out the actual components of his gauntlet. And we know we airbrushed it with fucking these paints. So we know this will work. So we're just going to frame out the components real quick. With 13 minutes left, let's see what we can make happen on this gauntlet. Using respect. A little more brown right here. And then a little bit more ochre in the mix up here. Just to find the kind of sweet spot. And you want to just visually be able to see all the elements, right? So that's first thing we did. So here's more ochre. Let's grab some white. Might as well grab some yellow in there. Make a nice highlight. And what's up, brother? I've seen you in chat. What's up, man? Shout out. Exclamation point 666 with 11 minutes left. If you're trying to get some bonus Yo DZs, you know what's up. Now what we're going to do is just carefully pin wash stuff. So, or edge highlight. Hard pull. Right there. Fucked up a little bit. I'm just going to kind of box everything out. And I'm going to lean heavily on the airbrushing to sell the shine. I'm not even establishing all that much respect in the dark areas. I'm just being careful. We're going to kind of make up a line right here. Okay. Right there. Get the knuckle. Okay, it's a good first round. Let's grab more white. And let's use this to reinforce some of these brighter zones. As you can see, more impacts. Let's find a safe pull right here. And look at that, just very minimalistic non-metal metallic effect here. So kind of a one direction transition from the airbrush with some pin washing and a hard edge highlighting. And it's typically enough to sell the effects. In this circumstance, there we go. See? And because I've given you enough cues with the effect, it rides right there. And if you want to go a step further, you want to get a little creative, you can run a little shine line right here. There you go. Rinse the brush. Rottweiler in chat. What's up? My boy Rottweiler. I missed him. Thanks for the bits, homie. Let's grab a little bit more white. And embed it in just a couple of locations. Nothing too crazy here. See, just ping, ping, ping. Six and a half minutes left. And look at that. Fucking free ass fucking painting right there. It's not even hard. It's like almost like it's cheating. Now here, I want to do something special. So let's take some of the ochre white combo. Maybe a little water. Let's see if I have time for this. Butt Pirate, thanks for the follow. Wazuzu, what's up, brother? I'm taking some water into this mix, lowering the opacity just a little bit, Wazuzu. Currently have the most normal haircut I've ever seen you have. Yeah, let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna do a center line. Low opacity. It's kind of too dark for the top bit, but it's perfect for the bottom. It's a glaze though, so it's not gonna have huge impacts. Let's get more white. So we're trying to do that cylindrical center line. moisture. Nothing too crazy. That's all airbrushing, which is this one line we did. We're ramping up the opacity in the center of the line, more white. Like that. Let's get an under highlight on this big crack. More white here. More white. Let's make sure. This is a little tricky because the edges are not super tight here. And we're just trying to really ramp up the seam. Right there. We're going to do the tracer right there. Okay. Let's use a little bit more water. Let's get some transparent yellow and water. Let's see, with 2.5 minutes left, no overtime, if we can yellow up with a filter right here. Focusing on the highlight zone, not really trying to repaint anything here. Just introducing this saturated yellow. To the center. See that? One last thing, if we have time, minute 40 left. My man Grazer says, major power outage here. The whole family is watching you paint in the dark on our cell phone. Grazer, hope everyone's okay. You guys have to do some martial arts in the dark at your house. So the Grazer crew, let's grab a little transparent orange and yellow together. So there's some orange in the mix, and I'm just going to kind of make a nice orange glaze, like a hard line of it. Off on the sides. So there's a bit of like another cylinder line here. And this is where we're breathing our orange back into it. Guys, we only have 20 seconds left. Thank you for your support today. Rinse the brush. There it is.
You gotta get swifty in here. It's time to get swifty. Uh-oh. You gotta get swifty. Oh, yeah.
Grazer and crew, Synth
Take
for
off your
game.
pants and your panties. Shit on the floor.
One last white edge highlight right here. There you go. So we've begun the process, at least at the end of the show, of getting the golds curated. Okay, the hands are going to be the easiest thing because they have such easy structure and they're just little squares and rectangles and shit. So we should be able to blast through both the second hand tomorrow first thing. Wazuzu, 46 months. Thank you, brother. Now on the feet, because of the nature of them and the panels and stuff, I'm probably going to have to go back to our wet glazing formula and do some extracurricular work on these. But also I'm going to have to repair some paint that I rubbed off on the model from having to handle it the way I've been handling it. So a little bit of wet glazing, but ultimately, get some pin washes, some edge highlights. Those boots are going to be very similar to this when they're done. And that's just really kind of, to me, showcase, or, you know, in my opinion, showcases how you can use your airbrush on any project and do some of these effects that you see people do really easily. Like the small stuff, would use more advanced shit. But on this big stuff, we just snuck our airbrush in, dude. We painted these things like a dark ochre brown, and then we just angled the guy and airbrushed highlights wherever I could reach. There was no thought process to like a tri-blend. It was just, it's all dark, and then kind of here where I aimed, it's bright and moves back. Pen wash, edge highlight, yo, it reads. It mainly reads because, at least in a couple of areas, we did, you know, correct tri-blending and stuff. But ultimately, a nice dramatic transition with hard edges will look metallic. And we did a nice tri-blend here by hand. You can see that. So, he's almost done. He looks fucking fierce. This is what, our 6th installment? Is that accurate? Thank you, Frozen Hobbit. I go to my video producer. So I've got all the highlights ready to go. No, this is our 5th installment. So that's not bad. That means, conservatively, we've officially spent about 10 hours on this guy. Because we do 3-hour shows, and after I edit out the game show stuff and the whip, usually it's 2 hours of painting. So, 10 hours to get this far on a project like this, I'm pretty happy with that. You know? So my techniques are all about sustainability and attainability, engineering and shortcuts that don't look like shortcuts. And so, I think that's pretty tight. Can we see a side-by-side with the other painter? You talking about, the one on Mammoth Factory's Instagram? Yeah, I can do that. Let me just I'll just take it off their page so I don't have to keep doing this. I'll just rip it, save it, screenshot, saved. There you go. About the same size in this frame. There you go. And this isn't their factory paint job. This is a fan of their work, I believe, submitting, hey, look, I painted this guy. And there's not a lot of those. So, like, shout out to anyone who paints the models. And again, the effect and the narrative of this guy, of this rendition, very cool. Very narrative to the lore. Like, it's clearly him. If you really look at the armor closely, you realize it's molten. Like, he's coming out of lava. It's all fucking fucking glowing and beat up. And I'm pretty sure narratively this is mostly metal. But the more I look at it, the more I realize there's definitely rock, like golem construct elements. Like that's definitely rocks and shit, you know? And he's got so many pipes and stuff and like runic collar. So, you know, for me, there's so much detail in this guy that though this effect is really cool and easy to do, and I love it that it's painted, like, look at how much action is on this model. But it's a lot harder to get to this, right? But so far, 10 hours is not that unrealistic. I've painted Space Marines for longer than 10 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've spent longer than 10 hours in a Marine, so, like, this isn't that hard. Airbrushing all day.